Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Video Marketing for Business podcast. And today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about Facebook marketing strategies with Sherri-Lee Woycik. She's going to be my guest today, and she knows all about those strategies, from the organic reach, the visibility, the content within Facebook Lives. I mean, how many of you are still not utilizing Facebook Lives? If you haven't yet, it's definitely something that you need to jump into, really step into that confidence and just take action and get going, because it's one of those things that's actually helped build my business as well. And she's going to talk about all those points and then some, and then share a really cool opportunity that you guys can actually connect with her more through an experience, which you all know I love experiences. So we'll talk about that. So Sherri-Lee, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, my pleasure, Tamara. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited. I love talking Facebook marketing, so I'm always grateful to be invited to speak.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, one of the pieces of content that my audience actually searches quite a bit within video marketing is actually Facebook marketing. So this is perfect for my audience right now. And I always talk about how you should step into confidence and create more content, more video. And I think Facebook Live is one of those things that helps with visibility the most, especially with that infamous algorithm that's changing as well. What have you seen? Like, I know that you talk really highly about being visible with Facebook. Like, where do you say people really need to start? Or what are some of those misconceptions where you're like, this is working or this isn't working? Like, what do you see working with Facebook marketing?
Well, and that's a great question. That's one of the things I love about Facebook, is that it is always changing. So it always keeps me on my toes, which is one of the things that I know some people struggle with. One thing that hasn't changed is that Facebook is the big daddy of them all. Mark Zuckerberg came out a couple weeks ago and said that there was 3.5 billion active users on Facebook right now. It is the big daddy of social media platforms, and it really does want you to succeed. They just want you to play nicely in their sandbox, and then they'll play nicely with you. And the problem is, a lot of people don't understand what that means, and to play nicely with Facebook. It's a tremendous opportunity to promote your business virtually free. You don't have to pay for anything if you don't want to. I don't know anywhere else in the world where you can actually do that. But the key is, how do you get visible on that platform when there's that many people on that platform? I mean, last I looked, there was over 60 million Facebook business pages alone. I'm sure that number has grown in the last year. The like button is clicked over 4 million times a minute. There's a ton of content being created. And the biggest struggle people have is, how do I get visible? How do I get people other than my family and friends to see me, or other than, the people I met at the networking event last week, or that I met at the last event I went to? How do I get out of my little tiny pocket that I've created and reach more people and get more visible? And when you figure that out and you realize you don't need to rely on the algorithm, you need to take the lead, and there's things you can do to really supercharge this so that, more people see you and flock to you and come to you, and you're like a magnet to them. Then Facebook becomes such a fun place to play and grow your business. And definitely Facebook Lives are one of the most important things that you can do to help you reach more people. Facebook loves video. Facebook Lives are number one. Video is number two for them. They kind of want to compete with that other big video platform, which
I was like, YouTube? That's my zone of genius.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to compete with that. And they don't like if you put YouTube links anywhere on Facebook. They really pull back on your reach, because they don't want you to send people to that platform, which is a competitor to them. But so they really, really favor live video or recorded video in the newsfeed. So that's one component. Like, there's a whole strategy around it. So yeah, they favor your video, but if your video is boring, if it doesn't get a lot of engagement, likes, comments, and shares, they're not going to keep pushing it out for you. They're not going to keep getting people to watch that video, because they want people to stay on Facebook. So your strategy has to not only encompass, how do I go live, and then how do I get leads, how do I close business, but also, how do I leverage this platform so that they are showing me to more people so that I can get more visibility. And it's just a bit of a game that you get to play. It's kind of fun.
No, I love that. Like, it's what's unique is some of our clients utilize like Facebook Lives as we can talk about content a little bit here. The side of like Facebook Lives, like repurposing those, so that's where their like go-to like starting point is. Be like, yeah, I want to use those Facebook strategies, but then they pass off those lives to our team, who turns around and chops that up into a more consumable length for YouTube. So it's that piece where, like, why not use the best of both worlds? You could be focusing on Facebook, all day, but why not repurpose content that can go out to YouTube that's edited a little bit different, or putting it out into repurposing content into that, turning that into an audio podcast. So now you're reaching this one Facebook Live that's now going out into my favorite platform of YouTube and podcasting and stuff like that. So, but it all starts with using Facebook. And that's what a lot of our clients do, because they're so, consumed with that. That's where their audience hangs out. But why not have the opportunity to be found on these, YouTube's like the biggest search engine out there, video format next to Google. And so it's just that cool piece about just creating content. Like we always talk about content. What's your thoughts on just content in general on the side of like Facebook? But that's just one thing to think a little bit bigger. And I think people just kind of stop with one platform, but here's a way to think like, you don't have to do much over here other than optimize and push it out, distribute, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, start with your Facebook Lives. I mean, repurpose content to go
absolutely
other places. So.
And there's so many things you can do. And I mean, I tell all my clients and students, yes, download your Facebook Live, get that up on YouTube. I mean, even better if they can hire somebody like your team to help them out with that and make sure that they have all the little extra pieces that go with it. That's so important. Mm-hmm. But you can also push it out as an IGTV. You can also cut from it and make reels, right? You can, if you did the Facebook Live over Zoom, then you actually can get a printout, right? You can get a transcript of your Facebook Live, or you can go to Rev and get a transcript of your Facebook Live. Now you've got a blog post. And you've got posts that you can use through it. And I mean, when people talk to me a lot about, oh, it's too much time to do all these things. And when I talk to somebody like you, we both go, wow, you've got one piece and you can turn it into so many amazing things all over the place. Yeah. And it's just a matter of leveraging. And, you asked about content a little bit, and Facebook, they favor your Facebook Lives, obviously, right? They want those to go out as well, but they really want you to be focused on helping them keep the people on Facebook, keep them engaged on Facebook and having fun. It's kind of like a popularity contest on steroids, right? Like it's high school on steroids for sure. And the only measurement, thankfully, well, not the only measurement, the main measurement that Facebook can track right now is likes, comments, and shares, right? They can't see our faces if we're nodding or we're smiling when we read a post, thankfully. So we need to make sure we're getting likes, comments, and shares. And they want frequency. They want you to be posting regularly and consistently. They don't want somebody who's just going to come on once a week to do a Facebook Live that promotes something.
Exactly.
They don't want you to come on just once a week to do a post that promotes you. If you want to do that, then they do want you to pay to play a little bit, throw some money into some ads to, get over the fact that you aren't putting any organic effort in. But if you want to put some organic effort in, you can save some money. And then I want you to be focusing on about 80% of your time. This one blows me away that people don't know this. So you might want your audience might want to write this down, but 80% of the time, your content on your Facebook business page should actually be created in order to make it easy for the reader to interact with you, to make it easy for your reader to get likes, to do like, comment, and share for you, because that helps you. Because the algorithm sees those interactions and says, oh, your content's interesting to our audience, so we're going to show it to more people. And your next post is going to get seen by more people. Oh, and then you did a Facebook Live? That's going to get seen to even more people as well. So it's a bit of a snowball that you can get going by focusing 80% of your time. That works out to be 4 out of every 5 posts are about your audience, not about you. Mm-hmm. And then 20% of the time you can talk about you. And a lot of people go on their business pages and go, well, this is my storefront. So this is where I talk about me, and this is where I talk about my business. But nobody's really going on Facebook to be sold to. Yeah. And so if all they're seeing is you selling things to them, they're going to scroll faster past your posts. They're not going to stop, even though they need that information. They're probably desperate for it, but they're going to scroll right past it because it looks just a little too heavy-handed at the early part of the relationship.
Yeah, no, and I've seen that quite a bit. So it's like having those different posts in line that It's not just like me. It's always about who you're serving, what their pain points are, how you can help them right now. And, it's always about like who you're serving. Like, it's just like what you're doing to help create an experience for somebody else and help them. When you lead with that in your copy and your messaging and your videos, more people are attracted to that, what I've seen, of course. And like you said, that you create those different posts, like with the content marketing system, that could be taken from that one Facebook Live transcribed copy that's created from within your voice. Obviously use Grammarly, spice it up a little bit to make sure it's proper, but creating those social posts that derive from that Facebook that inspire people too, and pulling out those quotes, like you said, for the micro content, those little video teasers for IG Reels and stuff. I know IG Reels is doing great right now. I know you're
Huge.
on Facebook, but it's crazy to see. Like, I had a IG Reel last week that had like 11,000 views in the matter of less than 2 hours, and it was like 80 plus or I think it's over 100 likes now, but it had like 70 new followers, and I was literally like, what was this? What did I do?
Reels, that's Reels for you. They are hot.
They're super hot right now. And so that's what we've been teaching our clients, is creating that micro content from it, or even creating like a simple, like normally what I'll do with that topic that I just did, maybe on a Facebook Live or a YouTube video, turning around and taking that topic and maybe those 3 topics that we were talking about, like visibility and content and something else, like put those 3 topics within like one little video clip. Why not create one more little piece of content with your cell phone that's under 30 seconds that you can be animated and passionate and give some quick tips where people are like, oh, like I'm going to click on that, pick a catchy like thumbnail. They're like, I'm animated. So that particular thumbnail of mine, I was literally like, I was like, hey, who's this crazy girl? What's she doing? But it was cool to like see that. And that's what we share with our clients. Like, just keep focusing on that one platform like Facebook, and just keep doing that. And the consistency factor, like you said, like you got to engage with your clientele and people that are on there in your audience, and see what they want. Like, what do you see in regards to Facebook pages and Facebook groups? For me, I've been seeing the groups populate again the last few weeks, even more. And then doing Facebook Lives has been helping that again. So I saw some dips here and there, but of course the algorithm's always changing. But where do you go live, or do you go live in both? Or tell us a little bit what you see.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And yes, everything always ebbs and flows for sure, right? And things are always changing. And Facebook has had definitely a focus on groups for relationship building for quite a while now. And they've come out and said that that's been their focus. I consider Facebook a funnel on its own. So I create a Facebook funnel. Your Facebook page is the top of your funnel. That's the place that Facebook has created for you, where you can reach an unlimited number of the 3.5 billion people that are on Facebook. So there's no limits to how many people can see it. There's no limits to how many times you can post on it. There's best practices you can follow, but it's really like your first date. It is the place where you just can bring in the masses. And from your Facebook business page, mainly your Facebook Lives, you can use those then to segment people, get some people onto your email list, get some people onto discovery calls, and grow your Facebook group. And Facebook's just been releasing some really cool tools that I've been playing with lately that help you invite people directly from your page into your group, so that your groups can grow quicker with really targeted people, if you're bringing really targeted people onto your Facebook page. But once they're in your groups, your connection is a little bit deeper, right? Like on your business page, most people aren't going to bare their soul and tell you what their deepest, darkest secrets are, and tell you what their biggest struggles are, or tell you that they're struggling to make their revenue goals for the month on your business page. They know, they know that all their friends and family possibly could see their comments. And so I always focus on my business page in making sure that I'm uplifting my prospects and giving them an opportunity to position themselves in a way that maintains their status in their community as well. So I'm never really asking them to go too deep on my page. But when they move themselves into my group, now they've raised their hand and said they're ready to go steady with me, and we can have a deeper relationship, and the conversation can be much deeper. And they're much more willing to open up in your group. And of course, you can sell in your group much more overtly, successfully than you can on your business page. In your business page, you want to be a little bit more subtle, right? I go live in both places. I do a Facebook Live on my business page at least once a week, and I do a Facebook Live in my group at least once a week. This week, I think I've done 7 Facebook Lives. We've just been running a little bit of a mini series of some training in my group as I do. And I've just been going live, and people just keep coming and keep asking questions. It's a great time, a great place to really build your rapport with people, but to position yourself as the expert, share nuggets of your expertise that, are teasers that let them know you know what you're talking about and make them want more, right? I'm all about, leading your prospect to where you want them to go, not pushing them anywhere, and for them to be making the choice, not to feel the least bit pushed into something.
No, that's great. Yeah, I always suggest to our clients when they're at certain points in their businesses, where can they start out? Where can they actually go with more of like an organic strategy, depending on what their budget is? Maybe they don't have a budget to do ads yet and work with your agency. Maybe they don't have a budget yet to do like delegation for content marketing, but it still doesn't mean that they can't do content marketing systems. Maybe they start off like low budgets or doing things themselves or using tools like Canva or little video apps or something. But I'm always saying, like, it's always so important to like figure out who does it best, so they can help you when you're ready for it. And I think Facebook groups, I've seen a lot of our clients start with groups first for those organic pushes that build those relationships first, and they do really well with presenting their offers in there. And then all of a sudden they're saying like, hey Tamara, like, do you know someone that does Facebook ads? I'm like, well, yes I do. And that and things like that. People always ask YouTube ads, all these things like that. But one of those things is, once you're creating that content, like when you're ready, like really do consider amplifying it to get it out there throughout ads. And I'm sure you can touch base on this too. I think people get this misconception. Yes, I know people that generate millions and they're spending like 45,000 in ad spend, but then there's the ones that are like, hey, I'm sure there's people that you work with as well that we could start with like $10 a day or something like that. Do you think that there's opportunity when someone's starting to come into this space to potentially work with someone like you or work with you and hire you? What would you say, like, when somebody's ready to come do Facebook ads specifically, and what that kind of looks like? Because I think people get a little bit scared. They're like, oh, well, this is working well, but how can I amplify this even more? Because they've got their systems in place. They have a funnel. They've got an opt-in that goes through that goes, into the group, all these things that can happen for them. When do you think is a good time for people to step in to do ads with someone like yourself and your agency?
Right. That's a great question. And one I wish more people would ask, because a lot of people, get a great idea, brainstorm, put in months of work and maybe tons of money to implement or create something, and then say, well, I'll just run some Facebook ads and I'll sell it. And I think the most important thing is, before you step into running Facebook ads, you can sell the thing that you've got. There's a demand for the thing that you're selling, right? That you're speaking about it in a way that really attracts your prospects to you. And you've used the platform organically. So when I have people come to me and say, well, I want to run ads, I want to sell this program, but I've never sold any of them before, and I only have $300 a month, I tell them to step back and, let's get you actually selling that thing without ads first. And most people are blown away that you can even do that. And of course you can, with the right strategy. You don't need to have a ton of ads. When you're ready to step into ads, then like you say, you want to have those systems in place, because this does really supercharge things, right? It can open up the floodgates for you, for sure. The volume of traffic can go through the roof. And you can really, if your systems and your business isn't ready for it, you can almost cripple yourself, because it can be too much if you aren't prepared for it. Having said all of that, I've worked with people with all ranges of ads budgets. And as long as you've got the strategy, you can actually execute with, $10 a day. I say to people now, I really prefer like a minimum of about $1,000 a month. It just gives you enough wiggle room to do enough testing. Things are changing every day, but especially this year, Facebook ads have been changing a ton. And there's a huge opportunity in what's happening right now. A lot of people are running around saying, the sky's falling. Facebook ads are never going to work again. Our costs have gone up. And true, retargeting to people who visited websites off of Facebook is a little bit more challenging because of some of the updates that have happened. But a space that people aren't really leveraging yet is the ability to target people who like your page, and the people who comment on your posts, and the people who've messaged your page, or the people who watched your Facebook Lives. You can target all those people individually in Facebook ads. And that isn't impacted by any of these changes that have happened, because you don't have to worry about having a pixel installed or retargeting or people opting out of retargeting. So in a way, Facebook always wants us to keep everything on Facebook as much as possible because they prefer that. In a way, this update has really just amplified that and has really created an opportunity. So it's more important now than ever that you're growing your Facebook page, that you're doing your Facebook Lives, that you're getting the engagement, because now you can target those people. Imagine if you did a series of Facebook Lives, 4 Facebook Lives over a month, and you talked about whatever your little series was about. You gave a good tidbit. Maybe you invited people to claim a lead magnet in each one of those Facebook Lives, and you created that audience so you could target those people. So they all went into this audience, and then at the end of the month, you ran an ad to all of them, only the people who watched the video. And the ad said something like, maybe it was a video ad even. Hey, I know that you watched my videos last month where I was training you about X, Y, and Z. I hope you got a lot out of it. Make sure you've claimed your freebie, claimed your gift. Right? Now, what about if you pulled that email list off of your email service and uploaded that to your Facebook ads and ran an ad to them and say, hey, I know you got your gift. How about we get onto a call and see how I can help you implement it? And
Yeah.
you haven't dealt with any of the changes that have happened. You haven't dealt with any of the problems around retargeting. You've just kept everything in-house on Facebook, and you've just worked on using their platform the way they want you to and leverage all the pieces that they give you. So I'm excited about all these changes because it's really in my wheelhouse where I love to spend time. To retarget off of websites, you need so much traffic to be able to do that. And a lot of people just don't have that traffic.
We've been able to, at this point in our business, we have an in-house team that does the Google and YouTube ads. And then what we really do well with on the Facebook ad side is actually the retargeting thing. And you're right, though, it takes some time and energy and things to figure out, on the side of retargeting from like websites, landing pages and stuff like that, and figuring out what that ad spend is. So really figuring out is like, I suggest starting with Facebook ads first before trying to dive into something like Google and YouTube ads. Because
I'd agree.
They get, misconstrued when you're at a level that you can do that. And you're like, I'm going to, dump thousands in here. And this is our target range. This is cost per click and lead and stuff like that. And figuring out that stuff. Nobody has to think about that stuff right now, though. Like the most important thing is to really start that visibility piece of it, get that content out. And when you're ready, go into getting ads, because I do strongly believe that it helps your business grow. And it's cool to go in and talk to the team and they share like what's working and what's not and what to create more of, and duplicate things that are working, and then double down on some of those ads, or put more of your budget over there. And like you said, you could start with, minimum of $1,000 a month to be able to do that. But when you talk to an expert like yourself that can share that information and people are like, oh, I can do that, or I can set that goal for the next few months. Like I'm going to focus on enrolling people in that Facebook group first, put the intention out there to hire, Sherri-Lee to be able to do the Facebook ads piece of it. I think people, when they set those goals and those intentions, you can get so many more relationships through your groups, and so many more, new buyers and clients that are long lasting too, because once they build that relationship with you, they won't just buy that one product. They might work with you in your coaching program, or go into up level their tiers of working with you. And you just got to think big with the big mindset. And I'm really excited because you have a workshop coming up in September, I believe. What are the dates on that?
September 23rd and a half day on the 24th. And it's the Raving Fans and Sold Out Programs workshop. We're going to go deeper into what we've talked about here today. It's the 5-step system to sell anything on Facebook. So we're going to help you get clear on your messaging and making sure that you're connecting with your right prospects and you're speaking to them in focused with what they need to hear, not what you think they need to hear. We're going to be diving into some visibility strategies so that you can walk away and have a real plan on how you're going to increase your visibility. We're going to be talking about lead generation and how important that is and how you can do that on Facebook with and without ads. We're going to talk about running workshops from within your Facebook group so that you can have a surge of sales to your programs, and how you can, absolutely scale your business and grow. These are one of the best ways. In fact, workshops helped me double my business last year. And then we're going to talk about the live stream profits roadmap, where we're going to really dive deep into how you can use Facebook Lives to help you do lead generation, book those discovery calls, and make sales in between those workshops so that you have consistent sales. And we're going to have a couple of guest speakers, and we're going to help you, elevate your brand, elevate how you present yourself in your Facebook Lives, leverage your content, and how you're going to move things around. We're going to have a ton of fun over these 2 days. It's a fabulous event. I'm so looking forward to it.
Well, I'm excited. I'm going to share that link out. It will definitely be in the description of this podcast as well. So those that are really looking to leverage more with Facebook marketing strategies, this is where you should be, and you will be. You'll sign up right now. Do it. Camera, let's go. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. And a lot of my audience, they love getting more marketing strategies, especially in regards to video. And like you said, Facebook Lives are doing well, and video is favored next. And that's really my love. I'm obviously biased, but I've started with video, and it's always been about video.
Yeah.
It will always continue to be more about video, and maybe getting more creative with video, and just standing out online with that visibility piece, and getting content out consistently, and eventually running ads. It's those, components that are really there to help us grow. And when you're ready to do each of those, definitely start with Facebook Lives, because that's where it's at. Sherri-Lee, where can they find you? What's your Facebook group? We can drop in the links. What would be the best way to connect with you on social right now?
Well, of course, my home is Facebook. So my Facebook group is the Badass Facebook Marketing Club. So it's where we teach you all about Facebook marketing so you can market your business and grow. My business page is Social Media Minder, which is my original name. It's kind of a bit of a nightmare, changing your names on your business page, but I'll send you those links. But, Sherri-Lee Woycik will find you a ton of stuff on Facebook, because I spend a lot of time there. So that's probably the easiest place to find me for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you so much just joining me today on the Video Marketing for Business podcast. And I'm excited for your workshop coming out. And I'm just excited in general, because you share all the best tips on Facebook marketing strategies. And thank you so much just for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to see what we're going to do together. It's going to be some fun, and I'm excited to actually help get you to help me with some of my stuff too in the future moving forward, because Facebook may be your favorite place to be, but you want to be on other places for sure as well. So thank you so much for having me on.
Oh yeah, no, it's such a pleasure. Yeah, it's so important. Once you get that system down with that one platform, like I said, that content marketing system is just creating that one piece of content into multiple pieces. And that's what our team does the best.
Yeah.
That omnipresence visibility, so you can focus on that one platform. If it's Facebook or if it's YouTube, don't have to worry about everything else in the middle. Just delegate out, because when you're scaling your business, it's so important to start delegating out when you're rising up. And there's different ways to do so depending on what level you're at, but always look farther out, so you can just get seen and found by more people. And that's really what happens with Facebook Lives and YouTube and just content marketing in general. So I love what you're up to, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you. So,
yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Well, everyone watching this video or listening to the podcast, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Also leave a review on iTunes, and I'm excited to see you next week. See you then.